Joining us now, Congressman, 6th District, Republican, Virginia, Ben Cline. Congressman, thanks for the wait. Thanks for your patience, and thanks for being with us.
With you. Sounds like Connor's got some interesting data there to share. I'm always interested in keeping up with the numbers and the percentages on absentees. We know that early voting without any excuse for absentee balloting in Virginia is very popular, and a lot of people are out there taking advantage of it. So we want people to get out there and vote whenever it's convenient for them, and just to make sure that we deliver Virginia for Donald Trump. I'm excited he's coming to Newport News because that we need to light a fire under the eastern part of the state that's similar to the fire that's been lit for 4 years for him out here in the western part of the state.
Oh, I tell you what, Congressman Cline, you're absolutely right. That's why he's coming to Newport News. That's why, he's looking at the same numbers we are. This is what I've been saying for weeks, that Virginia is in play, and we're right now, our surveys have us about 3.5 behind. We got a great ground game. But I tell you what, the fake news, Congressman, that we both battle every day, and you sometimes, it's there, and you kind of glaze over it. But now it becomes, it just hits you in the face real. Politico does a piece when Trump comes to Virginia, and the headline of their piece is, well, he's not really coming to Newport News for Virginia. He's coming to reach North Carolina. If you know any, I live in Southeast Virginia. Newport News is no more Carolina media market than Wyoming is. I mean, it's 3 hours from Raleigh-Durham. It's 2.5 hours from Greenville. I mean, you can't get to a major. There's nobody there in that part of North Carolina. There's no people there. So if you want to reach North Carolina, go to North Carolina. Why would you go to Newport News, Virginia, which is not a North Carolina media market, and it's 2 tunnels, 3 bodies of water, a bridge in 2 hours away. Narrative. And the Post picks it up. I got to push back on it. Thank God that for Laura Vizzello, who covers this, who at least gave my side of the story, but that's the fake news. And then everybody amplifies it. So they all pick the Politico story up, and everybody then runs it as if it's true. And the thing that is so frustrating is they have an unnamed source in the Trump campaign. Who the hell's that? I don't know. Unnamed. Yet the person who's in the Trump says he's coming to Virginia because he thinks he can win Virginia. That is what we fight every single day, and it's a tough battle, man. It's tough.
Hey, the Trump campaign is fighting in every battleground state. Virginia is a battleground state. As much as the left wants to convince Virginians, especially conservative Virginians, to give up and to leave it in the hands of the Democrats. We see what happens when we leave Virginia in the hands of the Democrats. We see all of these horrible policies coming out of Richmond to reduce the penalties for assaulting a police officer, to get rid of truth in sentencing put in place by George Allen, and that has led Virginia to have the lowest recidivism rate of any state in the country. We are doing it right when it comes to criminal justice, and the Democrats are trying to unravel it all. We've got to continue to fight in Virginia, and I think we're going to see a great U-turn in the direction of Virginia come next year when we elect a Republican governor and restore Republican dominance in the legislature. But for now, Virginia is in play. They're angry, especially about their Second Amendment rights out west, and we're going to work hard to deliver Virginia for Donald Trump here in November.
Congressman Ben Cline, when you were in the House and you ran the conservative caucus, you had that political action committee for a long time, got a lot of conservatives elected in there. Did you ever think you'd see a special session that goes on for, 2 months on the internet, on Zoom, and the House is passing all of these crazy bills? I thought the object of a special session was supposed to be special. They just decided to convene, and now they can't stop it. It's like they got a tiger by the tail, and they just come in every day and pass crazy stuff.
Yeah, they're playing the Virginian people for rubes. The Speaker of the House, Eileen Silvercorn, thinks that they can continue to keep this special session, which is supposed to be about balancing the budget in the coronavirus pandemic, to make sure that the economy, when it hiccuped there during the coronavirus, and we had massive unemployment, we had massive businesses going out of business, that the budget can still be balanced. Now the economy's taken off again. The revenues didn't fall as much as they thought they would, and with the CARES Act money, they got about $3 billion from the federal government to help address coronavirus issues. So the budget should be balanced by now. They should be back in their districts, but they can't help themselves. These liberals, they love government, and they love to expand government. So now they're in there trying to find ways to expand government in Virginia more and more. That's what is at risk here in November. If Joe Biden wins and Nancy Pelosi stays in the House, we know what the agenda is going to be if Mitch McConnell loses the Senate. It's going to be Nancy Pelosi's agenda. It's going to be the squad's agenda that's moving through the House, moving through the Senate, and getting signed into law by President Kamala Harris and Vice President Joe Biden. And I said that on purpose.
Well, yeah, because I mean, even Biden says it's the Harris administration. So, I mean, when Biden says that, that's what it is. The House passed legislation yesterday to avert another government shutdown. This is going to go through 12/11, December 11th, sending the bill to the Senate with 8 days to go before the current funding, federal funding, expires. It passed 359 to 57. Ben Cline. What are we ever going to get a budget like in June or July, like Whitman's been asking for? Rob Whitman's been asking for this since he's been there, or do these continuing resolutions just go on in perpetuity?
Kicking the can down the road is harmful to our national defense because they can't continue to modernize and develop new programs. They have to just progress in fits and starts. And this bill actually continued not only deficit spending, but also expanded existing programs and created additional responsibilities for the federal government. So they didn't just kick the can down the road; they kicked the can and dropped a new can and kicked it too, because they're expanding the scope of the federal government. So all three Virginia Republicans were there voted no. We look forward to restoring responsible fiscal order to the House of Representatives when Republicans take back the House in November. We've got several great candidates: Nick Freitas, Scott Taylor, Bob Good. Everybody's running to win these seats and retire Nancy Pelosi as Speaker of the House.
It's amazing, the story on the averting the government shutdown in the newspaper, The Hill, which, of course, we're all familiar with. So they kind of detail it out, and they give the vote, which is 359 to 57. And the only congressperson out of 435 that they mention of how the person voted is Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, a one-term freshman congresswoman from the Bronx. They don't say how any Republican voted. They don't say of any of the 57 people that voted no. The only person they cite is AOC and how she voted.
That's because she's the true leader of the liberals. They look to her.
Thank you.
Thank
you. She is the leader of the liberals and basically now the leader of the Democratic Party. The Hill is an institutional media company. It's institutional. I mean, you go to
Correct.
The Hill, most of the time you get accurate information. I mean, they're biased like everybody else, so they don't give Trump a fair shot. But when they're covering the Hill and they're covering the Senate, you get facts. That's why people go there. That's their reputation. And the only person they mention is AOC. Like you said, she is the leader, undisputed, no doubt. So where are we with, we asked you this 2 weeks ago when you were on, I got to ask the same question. Where are we with extending the PPP on that negotiation?
Well, unfortunately, that's one thing that Nancy Pelosi continues to block. She continues to block assistance to American people, to the business community. They're playing politics with people's lives. And, even after the House did pass a bloated $3 trillion boondoggle and the Senate said, okay, let's negotiate, she wouldn't negotiate in good faith. What she wants is the issue to take to the American people that somehow it's Mitch McConnell's fault because he's the one not taking up her boondoggle of a bill. It is the height of irresponsibility in the middle of a pandemic not to sit in good faith at the table and try and negotiate an agreement. Mitch McConnell's trying to negotiate with the White House. He's got Mnuchin at the table. Pelosi just would rather have the issue to try and win elections because that's all she's about. And she's not actually about helping the American people. So I'm very doubtful that we're going to get a deal before the election, but hopefully after the election, we will see whether it's a lame duck session where Pelosi acknowledges that Trump's won re-election and she does agree to some type of deal instead of just trying to stonewall the whole time. Hopefully we'll see something so the American people can get some relief.
There's one school of thought that says there's Democratic centrists that are in tough races in Trump districts like Abigail Spanberger, Lane Lauria, and others right here in Virginia that are trying to get the PPP out of this separately, get another round of PPP because companies that applied for that, it really helped them keep their employees, but that money's run out, so they're looking for a second. So is there a potential alignment here in Congress between 30 or 40 maybe centrist, if there are any of those Congress people that are in Trump districts that might cooperate with the Republicans and get the PPP piece of this thing out and discharge? Is that possible?
It's always possible if Mitch McConnell determines that that is something he can get through in the next couple of weeks, possibly because Spanberger, Luria, all of these Democrats, freshman Democrats, know that they are tied to Nancy Pelosi, and where she is failing on this assistance to the American people, they are being drugged down with her, and so they're trying to cut the rope there to get away from Pelosi, but they can't get away because their records speak for themselves, and Pelosi's intent on beating Donald Trump first, even at the expense of some of her freshman Democrats. She's going to go ahead and let them sink if it means she can beat Donald Trump. And you know what? I think Scott Taylor, I think Nick Freitas, Bob Good, they all have great chances because Nancy Pelosi's record and the record of all the Democrats in the House is a record of failure.
John Fredericks Radio Network, thanks for being with us today. Trucking the Truth Across America. We're with Ben Cline, Congressman, Southwest Virginia, represents the 6th District. Republicans up, of course, for re-election in November, expected to win there handily. And that district is basically Lynchburg to Roanoke area. It's a pretty big area. Ben, let's get to the Supreme Court choice. Now it appears that the Republicans in the Senate are going to have the votes in order to get a nominee from the president in and confirmed before November 3rd. Mitt Romney yesterday saying he's in favor of it. Only 2 Republican defectors. They needed 4 to defect. There's only 2 of them now. Lindsey Graham saying it's highly likely that we get a new nominee confirmed by the 1st of November. What do you think about that? And do you have a favorite for that choice?
Well, I've always been a constitutionalist and somebody who just looks to the text. And it says that the president shall nominate and the Senate shall advise and consent. And there is no qualification to that provision of the Constitution. There's no limitation within 60 days of a presidential election. The Senate shall wait. It just says the Senate shall provide advice and consent, and they are prepared to do that. I'm glad that Mitt Romney found his backbone in some closet somewhere. I don't know where it's been over the last couple of years, but he
Right.
managed to rummage through and dig it out and find it and say, okay, yeah, we'll provide advice and consent. Now he could flip-flop back on us,
Right.
closer we get to the vote. But for now, I'm excited because we've got the president coming in the day before his announcement of who that nominee is. Who knows what he's going to announce at the rally? Maybe he'll give a little teaser there, but I think it's going to be exciting on Friday night to listen to him talk about putting a conservative female on the court and continuing that great tradition of putting strong constitutionalists on the court that he has done over the past 4 years. So this is a great way to kind of end the campaign with a reminder of what this president stands for the Constitution, stands for the rule of law, stands for the American people, and those conservative values that we want. And so I think that's a great way to remind Americans when they go to the polls. Let's vote Republican, vote Donald Trump, vote for the Constitution, and restoring this great republic.
Ben Cline, spot on. Final question. The House yesterday passed a bill aimed at tamping down on any products or services coming from China that are developed, used, or made through slave labor camps that the Chinese has put these Uyghur Muslims into these slave labor camps. And finally you get a bill that says, hey, we're not going to participate in that trade. Is this thing that you've passed, I think it was, I'm going from memory, I think it was called the Uyghur Forced Labor Prevention Act, passed overwhelmingly. Is that real? I mean, can that actually have any impact at all on this?
Well, I think that it is real, and it does bring to the forefront the issue that that this Muslim minority is facing in China. China is not our friend. China is working against the U.S. economically, but also their human rights record is horrific. And Joe Biden has helped make China over the last 48 years that he's been in Washington. President Trump has been saying he's done more in 48 months than Joe Biden's done in 47 years. And that's accurate. Joe Biden helped prop up and create this behemoth of China, this human rights violator, this communist hegemon. And what we need to do is to get out of China, have a reassessment, get national security, and restore American dominance in those areas. And that's what this bill takes a step in that direction.
All right, excellent. Congressman Ben Cline, thanks for being with us. Republican 6th District, Virginia, Roanoke to Lynchburg. Congressman, always great to have you with us. Thank you for your work. John Fredericks Radio Network.